Hey folks, and welcome to the Burlington Bikeway. This is about a 24-minute video, and we're going to show you some spikeboarding on the bikeway. Thank you very much to David Bryant, very nice Southern Vermont resident, helping out Transport Sport, riding our camera bike today. So here we go, right there, coming out of downtown Burlington and jumping right onto the bikeway. And welcome folks. If you've never seen spikeboarding before, what you're watching is the innovation of everything that cross-country skiing's ever been, especially on wheels, brought to one board with one shaft. And those of you who know ski history know that skiing began, cross-country skiing began, all of skiing began with one shaft. And of course, that shaft, that hand tool in the athlete's hand at the moment, is called a skateboard spike. And we'll go over the strokes in spikeboarding, very similar to V1 and V2 and kick double pole and classic and double poling and skate. All these things arrived and then were meticulously observed to extract their maximum potential and performance. And this is no different in spikeboarding. And the spike tip that we're referring to in spikeboarding is none other than, wouldn't you know, the same exact 2-centimeter carbide ferrule spike that you will find on the bottom of World Cup roller skiers. Not only World Cup roller skiers, but of course, University of Vermont, just up this little hill, has a cross-country ski team, and they're using that same little 2-centimeter carbide at the bottom of their ski poles to be out roller skiing. So if you woke up from the dead, millions of people, possibly billions of people who had lived for thousands of years and had witnessed skiing, and you woke them from the dead and you said, hey, what's that individual doing? They would tell you that individual is skiing, and then they would go back to their dead rest. Why? Well, because skiing is gliding upon the Earth's surface while using your upper body and your lower body. It's that basic. Skiing with a chairlift and steel edges is about a nanosecond history on the timeline of skiing. The chairlift comprises virtually nothing of the entire thousands of years of skiing. So certainly that doesn't make it irrelevant. Who's to say that alpine skiing is irrelevant? It's not irrelevant at all. It's a wonderful activity, and I wouldn't deny it. Nobody would deny it. It's certainly legitimate. So is the steel edges. Those two things allow for alpine skiing to really be born and mature. So, but prior to that, skiing was gliding upon the Earth's surface using board and shaft. How you did that? Hey, depended on what technology was around. So what's in that athlete's hand is a skateboard spike, and from the handle down, it's just a big beefy ski pole. And from the handle up, it's very much a skateboard spike. So the skateboard spike allows you to grab it with one arm and incorporate Nordic ski movement at the same time that you might be standing on the board with your legs static, or you might be kicking. And your kicking would be the same as a scooter kick or a skateboard kick. So waist down, you are executing a skate move. Very similar to when skate ski arrived. So skate ski arrived and they incorporated what ice skaters, inline skaters, were doing. So from the waist down, skate arrived. And that's an inside Cubi cross, folks, by the way. So I'm only going to do this one time on this video, and there's the Cubi cross stroke. So kick and spike, kick and spike. Relax on the spike when you pass animals. They don't like the sound. That's an inside Cubi cross. Notice how the shaft is not switching from arm to arm, but the legs are switching. There's the Cubi cross. You're kicking and spiking simultaneously. These two needed to connect. They had to connect, and then you begin, there's the inside Cubi cross. The leg stays inside between the skateboard spike and the dominant, or actually the support leg. It's not dominant. You don't know which one is dominant. Go ahead and tell me which is the dominant leg on this athlete. Yes, spikeboarding is an ambi-pedal sport, and it does involve switch kicking. The switch kicking comes directly from skateboarding, and the upper body comes directly from Nordic skiing. Well, that's the last time you'll see the inside Kubicross. Primarily spikeboarding is 2 strokes. It's stand-up spike, which you're watching right there. It's a modified double poling stroke. Notice how the arms are staying at 90 to 120 degrees, and they're engaging with the rear traveling vector line on both sides, ambi-pedal. So you will develop neurological skill set, and it is not that challenging to do. It seems as though it may be, because we don't see it in public. We don't see thousands of people stand up spiking left and right and switching on the board. We don't see thousands of people Kubicrossing. We see 2 online. That's it. There's only 2 men online executing the sport. There's about 8 people in the world spikeboarding. There are no women, there are no children. Where are they? Are they in Vermont? Will the first child to be proficient in spikeboarding live in Vermont, be a Vermont resident? We really don't know. Look how beautiful these pictures are. Look how wonderful this bikeway is. Absolutely gorgeous. Goes on for, I've been told, around 20 miles. We're going to go up just 1 or 2 miles here and then turn around. But stunning and an amazing location for beginners. So all spikeboarding begins first and foremost with dry land training. So tune into our videos. There's lots of dry land training. Lots of dry land training. I'll repeat this again. Lots of dry land training. Lots of how slow can you go. Remind you of any sports that you know? How about short track speed skating? How about long track speed skating? If you're familiar with that, you'll know that there's a great deal of dry land training and technical execution. So if you can't do it slow, people, you're not going to be able to do it fast. Spikeboarding is a sport. It's like playing saxophone or learning brain surgery. You're going to need to become a student of the sport. Same as hockey. So dial in hot hockey, and you're going to find 20, 30-minute videos in length, many of them, so that you can learn how to C-cut, along with everything else on a kinetic movement that you're going to need to learn. So here we're just taking a little stop, and wouldn't you know it, we ran into a university event, cross-country running event. So we're just pulling up here. Folks, remember to share your pathways and keep a lookout for people, and don't imagine that faster is better and faster gets more right. Everyone uses the paths, so respect them and respect all the users, and let's get back to figuring out how you can learn the sport. So the sport begins by becoming a student, and hopefully we'll have everything you need to learn the sport online. And if you have any questions, then you can just ask. But everything should be able to be learned online these days, especially sports. So we've learned at least 4 sports ourselves just by watching videos online. And of course, when places begin to have enough people, we will clinic all over the country, and we're looking to make coaches, and those coaches will begin to have their own clinics, have their own businesses, have their own portals, have their own websites, have their own YouTube channels as the sport begins to scale. So here we're going to begin to pass a lot of people on the path and say hello to some of the university kids that are coming in from other schools to run this cross-country event and other sporting event that they might have been having here. This path, as you can see, is absolutely gorgeous and glassy, and it's a little bit of an uphill on this way up. And again, you can see that the sport vacillates between 2 strokes, a Kubicross and a stand-up spike constantly, and it is perfectly symmetrical. So these skill sets will begin to dial in between 9 to 18 months, and after that they'll really begin to gain their muscle memory, and you'll begin to achieve it like every other athlete achieves pole vaulting or swimming or skate ski classic or skate ski Nordic, or even what is I believe the highest challenge of human propulsion is a C-cut backwards in hockey, or a C-cut also in figure skating. Speed skaters don't skate backwards, so they get off lucky. They don't have to learn that. There's the Cubillo cross. It's an incredibly powerful stroke. Of course, go ahead and imagine skiers and take away their poles. Now have them herringbone up hills. That would be unusual, and they wouldn't like it. Notice we pulled off a little speed here. Got a lot of people on the path, and everyone's going to their designated responsible sides. So give that a little encouragement there for the teams, saying hello. Yes, folks, it is not that challenging to switch kick. It begins with a scooter after the dry land, and everything stays symmetrically the same. I can't tell you how delicious it is to actually learn and begin to speak ambipedal physical literacy. And of course, the ambipedal physical literacy is going to translate directly into soccer. So folks, if you have kids that are playing soccer, would you like to increase their double-footedness, their skill set for kicking the ball left and right? I assure you that switch kicking, which is the lower half of spikeboarding, will do this. Spikeboarding will raise the incidence of double-footedness very much. Of course, you're banging out neurology on both sides. It's completely and totally ambipedal skill set. And if you've noticed the legs, you'll notice the left or the right will lead at the front. So you're going to kick all four positions. Right now that right foot is in the front, and then the right foot will be in the back. So if you didn't notice, go back, review it, or I'm sure that's going to happen again on the way over. If the sport doesn't remain completely symmetrical, you will have problems. Of course, asymmetrical development of the body is unbalanced, and your body will complain quite a bit. Again, folks, waist up. That's skiing. Of course it is. This athlete double poles, skate skis, classic skis, and all of that arm action. See it at 90 degrees, 120 degrees. See the square, spiking a square, swing that square back, spiking it, swinging it back, connecting to the lats, connecting to the core muscles. The arm muscles are very small, so engagement with arm muscles is never going to get you any place. You need to just treat the arms as if they were the chain of a bicycle and transmit the energy to the rear. And of course, that silicone grip on that skateboard spike allows for as much transmission as possible. There are no straps. The skateboard spike lives in the family of the baseball bat, the golf club, the hockey stick. At the same time, it also lives in the family of the ski pole, but it has no strap. It needs to be able to go left and right. That's a neutral carry right there, carrying the carbon fiber parallel to the board. So we're just going to flip around here, call at the end of the point to point, out and back. Now we're going to be a little front lit. Look at that beautiful blue Vermont sky. My goodness. What a gorgeous day this was to be out spikeboarding on the Burlington Bikeway. And now a little bit of a sled ride. So when the speed picks up, you're probably going to be engaging, very similar to skiing, you engage double pole. Your legs can't keep up with the cadence. So why use the legs when you're actually double poling faster than you can kick, skate, or classic? Of course, you're just going to engage your double pole. Well, the same in spikeboarding. Once you begin to reach threshold speeds above the capacity for your legs to turn over and kick, you're just going to go to a stand-up spike stroke, and that's going to motor you on. And the stand-up spike stroke, again, is a modified double poling stroke. Modifications come in the fact that the hips and the shoulders turn into 45 degrees, and then you're going to have a leading shoulder and a leading hip. and you're really trying to get that spike parallel with the shaft, parallel with the board, pardon me, the shaft parallel with the board. Just like skis, for every degree that you're out, you're going to be losing power. So we really just made this video to show how at an elite level you can spikeboard on a path like this, also showing how well the sport works out on this bikeway. And of course, to start the sport, sorry, we're getting back to that now. To start the sport, we mentioned it before, you're going to want to start with dry land. How slow can you go? And you are going to stay away from people. You're going to stay away from people, as in all sports, whether that be skiing or flat water stand-up paddle or kayaking, anything like that. Stay away from people until you are in full control of all of your gear and yourself, and you're not a threat to yourself or others. And after that, you can begin to come out to a bikeway like this and begin to practice. But of course, switch kicking begins on a scooter, folks. Age 2. Teach your children to switch kick evenly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, switch. Notice how that left leg is coming to the front now. As we mentioned before, there is no front or back designation to either leg. One leg will be naturally dominant, just dragging that spike a little bit, giving a heads up for the people that we're passing. And one leg will be non-dominant. And slowly, the non-dominant leg will begin to execute same as the dominant leg. But of course, same as you would in swimming, use a kickboard to isolate the upper body and develop your kick. There's no difference. So check out some of the videos on our channel and you will see scootering is a hot setup. Scootering will always be used. Super scooters, actually, really big ones, will be used by elite level athletes. This athlete uses super scooter constantly. Super scooters have big bicycle wheels on them, and they're performance driven, and they're insanely effective for hill repetitions. This bikeway is just gorgeous, isn't it? It's just absolutely beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous to be spikeboarding out there. So guys, there's some more of the students as we pass them. Switch kicking begins age 2, 3 on a scooter. Spikeboarding begins age 7, more or less same time Nordic roller ski begins, with poles and shafts. And if you're above those ages, the trajectory of the sport will be a little stand-up spike, a lot of scootering, a little stand-up spike, a lot of scootering. Finishing your stand-up spike sessions with one arm, slowly beginning to do how slow can you go drills, dry land drills, then connecting the core power that you're developing with your stand-up spike and bringing it to your Cubi cross. And then, of course, you'd love to learn your inside Cubi cross. It's a great thing to have, especially if you want to commute, pick things up, carry them with one hand while allowing your legs to switch. So also, if you begin to race, inside Cubi cross is going to make your day when things begin to get tight and you're jammed. You want to switch your legs. You might not be able to spike on the other side. You might have a guy or a gal right next to you while you're racing. So all 3 strokes are very important. And then, of course, cadence braking. Cadence braking is critical. It'll be critical whether you have a disc brake on the board or not. And folks, the disc brake is coming. Sooner or later, it's going to be manufactured, and it's going to be as effective as a bicycle disc brake. And then you will, for instance, in Vermont, be able to go from Bristol up over the Gap to Waitsfield and behave just like a cyclist. It's an open road sport. It's an open path sport. It's the same as inline skating or cycling or roller ski. Exactly the same. It's a board with wheels. So roller skis are boards with wheels, and skates are boots with wheels. As we can see, the athlete is taking that nose and putting it right over the knee, and the knee is right over the toes. So it's a center line sport. You need to drop shoulders and balance the weight over one leg. It's head to toe strength and conditioning with bilateral limb development. So the cross training capacity of the sport is immense. It is as immense as cross-country skiing itself, added a plus of bilateral limb development at a very high level for the legs, meaning it will help double-footedness in soccer like crazy. The functional strength aspect is tremendous. So, for all field sports, cross-training, coaches, if you're listening, this sport is delightfully fun. Very, very fun. So, it activates core constantly and delivers stamina. Those are the two hardest things for you to produce in the off-season in your athletes. Stamina and core. Because those things oftentimes are not fun to do, especially core. In spikeboarding, you'll suddenly say, oops, I did an extra 2 hours of core. What do you know? And that's the kind of thing that happens routinely. There's some one arm, 1/2. And there is a stand-up spike, hammering straight through, perfectly symmetrical. I don't believe we were counting on this particular video. But when you do get out to do the sport, especially when you're a beginner, count, folks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boom, boom, boom. Count, keep it symmetrical. That is how you learn your ambipedal skill set. And of course, that's how you keep your body well balanced throughout a 30, 40, 50, 60 mile spike. So the speeds are about 1/3 less than cyclists. Cyclists, if you're watching this, if you roll 60 miles in about 3.5 hours, you're going to spike 60 miles in about 5.5 hours. So you're losing about 1/3 of the speed. And of course, as soon as we have the break, you'll go wherever you darn please, just like a road bike. So unlike roller skis are never going to have a brake that works at 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. There's just no place for them. It's not discounting roller ski in any way. There's no structure to put that kind of brake onto a ski. You can put it on a board though, and of course a board is really just a ski. Then we go past the sailing school and Vermont Adaptive. Wonderful organizations, both of them. And there is a skate park where people have used skateboards for acrobat sport. So the board has lived in acrobat theater, and that's like figure skating. Now it lives under the feet of endurance athletes. That's spikeboarding. So folks, we're coming down to the end of this video. We hope you have enjoyed it, and we call out to Vermonters to learn the sport of spikeboarding, sport of balanced strength. You will enjoy it, and you will be able to use the physical literacy skill set your entire life. And that is what is important about physical literacy that can recreate, last for life, engage the whole body, and then be logically reasonable to be used for commuting. So spike hard, spike often, spikeboarding, and we'll see you at the next one, and hopefully see you out on the bikeway doing a little spikeboarding. So long, guys. Burlington Bikeway, one heck of a place to spikeboard.